What would you do if your own mother abandoned you at an airport, flying off to Europe with her new family while you were left behind? Lily had spent 2 years watching her mother build a perfect life, one where Lily didn't belong. But when they planned a summer trip to Europe, she never imagined they would leave without her. One moment, she was in the airport bathroom. The next, she was alone, no money, no ID, no way to call for help. Her mother thought she was disposable. She thought Lily would just disappear. She was wrong. Stay tuned to see how Lily finds the truth, takes back her life, and don't forget to subscribe for more gripping stories. My name is Lily, and I'm 15 now. Looking back, it's almost impossible to believe how much my life has changed in just 2 years. I guess that's what happens when your whole world gets turned upside down twice. It all started when I was 13. My parents got divorced and Mom got the house. I stayed with her, of course. Dad agreed to pay a lot in alimony. I once overheard Mom on the phone, bragging about it like she'd won some kind of prize. "I finally got what I deserved," she said, laughing. "Why did you and Dad split up?" I asked her countless times in those first few months. But she'd just shake her head and give me the same cold, rehearsed answer. "Your father made his choice, Lily. He doesn't want to be part of our lives anymore. He doesn't want to see you. It's better if you just accept that." But how could I accept something that made no sense? My dad, the same man who used to call me his little scientist and spent hours helping me with my homework, how could he just stop wanting to be my father? The thought of it hurt so much that sometimes I felt like I couldn't breathe. Then, the emails started. Every holiday, like clockwork, I'd get an anonymous message. Nothing long, nothing fancy, just simple words of love and encouragement. The first time I saw one, my heart nearly stopped. I knew it had to be from Dad. Who else would write, "Keep reaching for the stars, sweetheart"? The exact same thing he used to say to me every night before bed. I never told Mom. I couldn't. Just mentioning Dad's name was enough to make her face twist up like she'd tasted something bitter. After the divorce, she quit her job. She claimed she needed time to heal, but I wasn't stupid. Dad's alimony checks were more than enough to keep us comfortable. She spent her days redecorating the house, going to yoga classes, and talking about finding herself. Then Richard came into the picture. She said she met him at yoga, and before I knew it, our house was filled with talk about new beginnings and blended families. Then, just like that, Richard and his kids Ethan, who's 13, and Chloe, who's 11, moved in. That's when everything really changed. Mom turned into someone I didn't recognize, doting over Ethan and Chloe like they were delicate porcelain dolls that might shatter if she didn't handle them just right. She spent hours doing Chloe's hair, making Ethan's favorite meals, and gushing over how lucky we were to have them in our lives. Meanwhile, I sat at the kitchen table, feeling like a ghost in my own home. "Mom," I said one day when I couldn't take it anymore, "it's like you've forgotten I exist." She gave me a look I'd never seen before, part pity, part annoyance. "Don't be selfish, Lily. Ethan and Chloe lost their mother when they were babies. They need extra attention and care. You should understand that. You're old enough now." That was the moment I realized it. I wasn't part of this new, perfect family. I was just an extra, an afterthought, something that didn't quite fit into the polished picture Mom was trying to create. She became obsessed with taking family photos. Every weekend, she'd dress us up like we were going to a magazine shoot, coordinating our outfits down to the smallest detail. Ethan and Chloe always got new clothes for these photos, while I had to dig through my closet for anything that matched. "Lily, stand behind Ethan. No, move to the left. Try to smile more naturally," she would instruct, adjusting her phone camera to get the perfect shot. "Chloe, sweetie, tilt your head just a bit. Perfect." I would force a smile. I would stand where she told me, and every time I saw the pictures later, beautifully framed and proudly displayed around the house, I would notice the same thing. I was barely visible. These photo shoots would go on for hours sometimes, click after click, pose after pose, until Mom got exactly what she wanted for her social media feed. The worst part came afterward, when she'd show off the results at every family gathering. "Look at how many likes this one got," she'd gush to Aunt Vivian or Uncle Pete. "Everyone says we look like the perfect family. Don't the kids look amazing together? You'd never guess they weren't always siblings. I'd stand there feeling like a prop in someone else's play while Mom bragged about our beautiful blended family to anyone who would listen. The photos never showed the reality, how Chloe would roll her eyes whenever I entered a room, or how Ethan acted like I didn't exist. The hardest part wasn't the fake smiles or the endless posing. It was being cut off from Grandma Rose, my dad's mother. After the divorce, Mom made it clear that visiting her was out of the question. I missed Grandma's warm hugs and the way she'd listen to me for hours, really listen, not just pretend to while scrolling through her phone. Now all I had were memories of baking cookies in her kitchen and the sound of her laugh. Instead, I was stuck with Mom's relatives who bought into her perfect family narrative hook, line, and sinker. They cooed over Ethan and Chloe, praising Mom for being such an amazing stepmother, while I sat in the corner wondering if I'd become invisible. As months passed, the distance between Mom and me grew wider than the Grand Canyon. She lived and breathed her new family, planning everything around Ethan and Chloe's schedules and preferences. Family movie night, Ethan. What would you like to watch? Weekend plans, Chloe, honey. Where should we go for lunch? My opinion didn't matter anymore. I'd sit there during family discussions, watching Mom lean in eagerly to hear what restaurant Chloe wanted to try or which movie Ethan was interested in seeing. Sometimes I'd open my mouth to make a suggestion, but Mom would already be grabbing her keys, excited about Ethan's choice of the new superhero film or Chloe's pick of the fancy ice cream place across town. One Sunday morning, as they were all getting ready for another family outing, I stayed in my room. Nobody came to ask why. Nobody tried to convince me to join them. I could hear Chloe's voice through my door saying, "Good, now we don't have to pretend to include her." Mom's response? Silence. Summer arrived with the kind of announcement that used to make me excited as a kid. Mom and Richard gathered everyone in the living room one evening, practically buzzing with enthusiasm. "We have amazing news," Mom announced, clasping Richard's hand. "We're planning a month-long trip to Europe." Ethan and Chloe immediately erupted in cheers. "Can we go to Paris?" Chloe squealed. "I want to see the Eiffel Tower." "And Barcelona," Ethan chimed in. "They have the best soccer stadium in the world." I sat there on the couch watching them bounce around the room like lottery winners. Nobody looked in my direction. Nobody asked what I thought about spending a month in Europe. It was like I was watching a TV show about a happy family, one I wasn't part of. The morning of the trip started early. I was in my room, double-checking my packing list, when a faint rustling sound caught my attention. Looking up, I froze. Chloe stood by my dresser, my favorite blue swimsuit in one hand, a pair of scissors in the other. Her fingers gripped the fabric as she slowly, deliberately sliced through it. A small, satisfied smile curving her lips. For a second, I couldn't move. I knew Chloe didn't like me. She had made that painfully clear over the past 2 years. But this was different. This wasn't just passive-aggressive comments or stolen belongings. This was cruel. The shock wore off in an instant. I lunged forward, reaching for the scissors. "Give me those!" Chloe yanked back, twisting away from me, and suddenly we were locked in a struggle. She was smaller but shockingly strong. As we fought for control, her face contorted into something wild, and then she started screaming. "Help! Lily is attacking me!" The thunder of footsteps pounded up the stairs. Within seconds, Mom and Richard burst into the room, finding us tangled, breathless, the mutilated swimsuit lying between us. "She tried to hurt me!" Chloe wailed, throwing herself into her father's arms. "I was just standing here and she went crazy." "That's not true," I shot back. "She was cutting up my swimsuit. I was trying to stop her." Mom's gaze barely flicked to the ruined scraps on the floor before turning on me with cold fury. "What is wrong with you, Lily? Are you really so jealous of Chloe that you'd physically attack her? Go to your room and stay there until we leave for the airport. Clearly, you can't be trusted around her." They left, taking Chloe with them, her sobs echoing down the hall. Through my closed door, I could hear Mom's voice, gentle now, reassuring. "Don't worry, sweetie. We'll go to the mall right now and buy you some new clothes to help you feel better after this awful experience." I sat on my bed, staring at the shredded pieces of my swimsuit, listening as they left for their shopping trip. Nobody asked if I needed a new one. Nobody cared that I was telling the truth. Evening came and we all gathered in the foyer, suitcases lined up neatly by the door. Mom was checking her list one final time while Richard loaded the luggage into the waiting taxi. "I still think you don't deserve this trip after what you did to Chloe," Mom muttered, shooting me a look colder than the night air outside. "But we can't leave you home alone for a month, so you'll have to come. Just try not to cause any more problems." Inside the airport, everything felt overwhelming: voices, announcements, the constant shuffle of travelers moving in every direction. We made our way to the check-in desk, where Mom handed over our documents. My stomach twisted, a strange, uneasy feeling creeping over me. Maybe it was the exhaustion, maybe it was the tension hanging in the air, or maybe it was something else, something I couldn't quite name. "Mom," I said hesitantly, shifting my weight, "I need to use the bathroom." She barely glanced up, too busy rummaging through her oversized purse. "Fine, but hurry up. We can't miss our flight because of you." "Should I take my bag?" I gestured to my carry-on, suddenly unsure. "Just leave it," she snapped. "I'm not having you wander off with our documents and money." I nodded and turned toward the restroom signs, weaving through the crowd. The airport was massive, and the signs were confusing. I had to double back twice before finally finding the bathroom. By the time I washed my hands and stepped back out, at least 10 minutes had passed. But when I returned to the check-in area, my family was gone. At first, I thought I had gotten turned around. My heartbeat picked up as I scanned the counters. "Mom?" My voice wavered, rising in pitch. "Richard?" Nothing. The uneasy feeling in my stomach sank into something darker, something colder. They were gone. People turned to look at me, but none of them were my family. I started running, my feet slapping against the shiny airport floor as I searched desperately. Maybe they'd gone through security already, but how could I follow? Mom had all my documents in her purse. I had no phone. It was in my bag. No money. Mom had that too. No ID, no boarding pass, nothing. I ran back to the check-in area, then to the bathrooms again, then to the food court. Time seemed to blur as I searched frantically, my panic growing with each passing minute. People streamed past me, dragging their suitcases, hugging their families goodbye, living their normal lives while my world was falling apart. Finally, after what felt like hours, but was probably just one, I couldn't run anymore. I stood in the middle of the terminal surrounded by strangers and burst into tears. Not quiet, dignified tears, but huge, gasping sobs that shook my whole body. "Are you all right, sweetheart?" A gentle voice broke through my crying. I looked up to see a woman in an airport uniform, her face creased with concern. "Where are your parents?" I tried to explain through my tears, the words coming out in broken gasps. They left. I just went to the bathroom. They had all my things." The woman's face changed as she understood what I was saying. She put an arm around my shoulders and led me through a door Richarded airport personnel only. Before I knew it, I was sitting in a small office while serious-looking people in security uniforms asked me questions and made phone calls. They reviewed the security footage, their faces growing grimmer as they watched. One of them was taking notes, writing up an official police report. "It's confirmed," I heard one officer say to another. "They checked in, waited until she was gone, then proceeded to their gate and boarded their flight. They've already taken off." "Is there anyone we can call for you?" one of the police officers asked, his voice gentler now. "Any adult relatives who could come get you?" I wiped my eyes with the tissue they'd given me. "My dad," I said quietly. "I haven't seen him in 2 years, but I know his name and where he used to work." They took down the information, and I heard them making calls in the next room. I sat there, wrapped in a borrowed airport blanket, trying not to think about the plane that was probably already over the Atlantic, carrying my mother and her real family away from me. "Lily?" A familiar voice made me look up, and suddenly I couldn't breathe. Dad stood in the doorway, looking exactly like I remembered, but somehow different too. His hair had more gray in it, and he seemed tired, but his eyes, they were the same eyes that used to check for monsters under my bed and light up when I showed him my science fair projects. "Dad?" My voice cracked, and then I was running, and he was catching me in his arms like I was 7 years old again, and we were both crying. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart," he kept saying. "I'm so, so sorry." The drive to his place was surreal. I sat in the passenger seat of his car, stealing glances at him, afraid he might disappear if I looked away too long. He lived in a different part of the city now, in a large apartment building I'd never seen before. "There's someone I want you to meet," he said as we rode the elevator to the 8th floor. "My fiancée, Olivia. She's been my rock through everything." Olivia turned out to be a warm-faced woman with curly red hair who took one look at me and wrapped me in a hug like she'd known me all my life. "You poor thing," she said, leading me to the kitchen. "You must be starving. I'm making you a proper meal right now. No arguments." While Olivia busied herself with cooking, Dad and I sat at the kitchen table. The familiar smell of coffee filled the air. He still drank it the same way, black with just a touch of sugar. "Lily," he said finally, his hands wrapped around his coffee mug. "I think it's time you knew the truth about what happened 2 years ago." That day, I came home early from work. I wasn't supposed to be there, but a meeting had been canceled. His voice was steady, but I could see his hands shaking slightly. "I found your mother in our living room with Richard. They weren't just talking." I felt my stomach clench as I understood what he meant. "When I confronted them, Richard tried to act tough. We got into a fight. Not my proudest moment. Your mother tried to get between us, and one of us, I'm still not sure who, accidentally pushed her as we were struggling. She fell and hit the coffee table pretty hard." Dad's voice caught. "There was blood on her face from where she'd hit it, and her hands were all scraped up. I tried to help her, but before I could, she looked right at me and said if I didn't do exactly what she wanted, she'd go to the police. She said she'd tell them I beat her, that she had the bruises to prove it. She said I'd go to jail and I'd never see you again." He looked at me, his eyes full of pain. "She gave me her terms: divorce, the house, alimony, and I had to stay away from you completely. Away. She said if I tried to contact you or tell you the truth, she'd follow through on her threat." The next morning, I was sitting at the kitchen counter picking at my breakfast when Olivia sat down next to me with a determined look on her face. "Lily," she said, stirring her coffee thoughtfully. "My brother Andrew is a family law attorney. He's really good at what he does, and I think he can help us with your situation." Dad looked up from his newspaper hope flickering across his face. "You think he'd take the case?" "Are you kidding?" Olivia pulled out her phone. "When I told him what happened at the airport, he was ready to come over right then and there. He's just waiting for us to give him the go-ahead." Everything moved fast after that. Andrew turned out to be a tall man with Olivia's same red hair and kind eyes, but there was a quiet steel beneath his gentle demeanor. He sat with us at the dining room table, taking meticulous notes as I told my story. He made calls right then and there, his voice shifting into what Olivia called his lawyer mode. Within hours, he had filed paperwork with Child Protective Services and the guardianship authorities. They took over the case immediately. Apparently, abandoning your child at an airport tends to get people's attention. A couple of days later, Dad suggested we visit someone special. "There's someone who's been missing you like crazy," he said as we drove through familiar neighborhoods. "Someone who never stopped asking about you." When we pulled up to Grandma Rose's house, my heart nearly stopped. It looked exactly the same. The warm yellow paint, the flower boxes in the windows, even the old porch swing where we used to sit and drink lemonade. The front door flew open before we even reached it. "Lily!" Grandma cried, and suddenly I was wrapped in one of her famous bear hugs, the kind that smelled like cinnamon and fresh laundry. "Oh, my sweet girl, let me look at you." We spent the afternoon flipping through old photo albums, eating Grandma's famous chocolate chip cookies, and catching up on lost time. She showed me the birthday cards she had written but never sent, kept safe in a drawer alongside newspaper clippings of my school's honor roll listings. She had saved everything. Days turned into weeks, and before I knew it, a month had passed. Mom and her perfect new family were still in Europe, living their best lives, at least according to their social media posts. Every day, new pictures would pop up on my feed. Chloe posing in front of the Eiffel Tower, Ethan at the Colosseum, Mom and Richard having candlelit dinners in Paris. Not once did they try to contact me. Not one message asking if I was safe, if I had somewhere to stay, if I was okay. Mom had my phone, my laptop, all my clothes, everything I owned except for what I had been wearing that day at the airport. But apparently, none of that concerned her. I logged into my social media accounts from Dad's computer, and I could see them, all active. They posted pictures, liked other people's updates, commented on friends' posts. They could see that I was online too. The little green dot next to my name made that clear. But nothing. Not even a single "hope you're alive" text. It was Dad's idea for me to be waiting at the house when they returned. I sat in the living room, my heart pounding as I heard the taxi pull up outside. Dad was hidden away in Mom's home office, waiting for the right moment. We could hear their voices through the front door, laughing and chattering about their amazing European adventure. The key turned in the lock, and they all burst in, arms weighed down with shopping bags and suitcases. They froze when they saw me sitting there. "Well, well," Mom said, recovering quickly and plastering on a smug smile. "Look who found her way home." Richard chuckled, dropping their bags by the stairs. "See, we told you she'd be fine." That's when Dad stepped out of the office. The change in Mom's face was instant. Her smug smile vanished, replaced by shock and then fury. "What the hell are you doing in my house?" she shrieked, backing up against Richard. "Get out right now!" Dad stood his ground, his voice calm but firm. "I'm here to tell you how this is going to go, Vivian. I'm taking Lily with me permanently this time. I've already filed for full custody, and I'm suing for termination of your parental rights. The paperwork's already been filed with the court." Mom's face went white, then red. "You can't do that!" "I can and I have, and that's not all." Dad's voice got harder. "There's also the criminal charges for child endangerment. Abandoning a minor at an airport, that carries serious jail time for both of you." He looked pointedly at Richard. Mom's voice shook with rage. "You think anyone will believe you after what you did to me? I still have pictures of my injuries. I'll tell everyone how you beat me." Dad actually smiled then, but it wasn't a happy smile. "Go ahead." My lawyer already prepared for that old lie, but here's the thing. Vivian, you didn't file a police report right away, and now you've destroyed your own credibility when you abandoned our daughter at an airport. It's all on video, every single second of you walking away, boarding that plane, enjoying your European vacation, while our 15-year-old daughter was left alone without money, phone, or ID. What kind of mother does that? We. Mom looked desperately at Richard, who seemed to be trying to fade into the background. "No judge is going to believe your accusations now," Dad said, his voice calm but firm. "Not after what you did. Not with the police report, the airport footage, the social media posts, all proving you didn't even bother to check if your daughter was safe. You showed your true colors, Vivian, and now you're going to face the consequences." The trial moved faster than anyone expected. Andrew said it was because the evidence was overwhelming. The airport footage, the police report, the endless stream of posts showing them gallivanting around Europe while I was abandoned, there was nothing to argue. The judge barely needed time to decide. Mom lost all parental rights. The alimony payments Dad had been making were terminated immediately, and full custody was granted to him. Though, honestly, that just made official what we all already knew. I was never going back to that house. Mom and Richard each got a year of probation, plus a fine so steep it made Richard's face go ghostly pale when the amount was announced. But watching them squirm didn't bring the satisfaction I thought it would. I just felt nothing. Like watching the final scene of a movie about someone else's life. That was 6 months ago. Now, I'm sitting in my new room in Dad and Olivia's apartment, debating which earrings to wear to their wedding next month. Olivia asked me to be her bridesmaid, and the dress we picked out, a soft summer sky blue, hangs on my closet door, waiting. I don't know what happened to Mom and her real family after the trial. They moved away. Aunt Jenny told me that much. Surprisingly, most of Mom's relatives took our side once they found out what happened. "Blood doesn't excuse what she did to you," Jenny had said, her voice firm. "Grandma Rose comes over for Sunday dinner now, always bringing her famous chocolate chip cookies and a new story about Dad's childhood ones that make him groan while I laugh. Sometimes we flip through old photo albums together, but we're making new memories too, filling fresh pages with photos of moments that actually matter. I transferred to Riverside High after everything settled down. No way was I going to keep going to school with Ethan and Chloe. Turns out, it was the best decision I ever made. My new friends, especially Rachel and Kim, are the kind of friends I never had before. They don't know the full story of why I transferred, but they know enough to understand why I sometimes fall quiet when people talk about their moms. Once in a while, I catch myself wondering about Mom, Richard, Ethan, and Chloe. But it's like wondering about characters from a book I read long ago, distant, faded. I blocked them all on social media not out of anger, just because I don't need to know anymore. I'm done being the ghost in their perfect family photos. Dad says I'm stronger than he ever was at my age. Maybe he's right. But I think I'm just lucky. Lucky to have him, Olivia, Grandma Rose, and all the people who showed me what real family looks like. The ones who stand by you, who fight for you, who make sure you never have to question whether you're loved. What do you do when the people who are supposed to love you the most make it clear that you were never part of their perfect picture? When they erase you from their lives, hoping you'll simply disappear? Lily spent years trying to understand why her mother pushed her aside, why she became nothing more than a background figure in a family that wasn't even hers. She watched as her mother lavished attention on her new step-siblings as she was left out, ignored, and eventually discarded. But the day they abandoned her at the airport, they did more than just leave her behind. They set her free. Because in that moment, Lily learned the truth. No matter how much she had tried to fit in, no matter how many family photos she forced a smile for, she was never part of their story. And if they had no space for her, why should she keep space for them? Now she's with the people who truly love her. Her father, the one person who never stopped fighting for her. Olivia, who welcomed her with open arms. Grandma Rose, who never forgot about her. And for the first time in years, Lily is building a life where she is more than just an afterthought. She is wanted. So here's the question. If you were in Lily's shoes, would you have given your mother a chance to explain? Or would you have walked away just like she did? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.
The pain rips through me like a serrated blade, but it's nothing compared to the words that just left my husband's mouth. I'm still catching my breath, sweat-soaked and trembling, when Adam steps forward, his expensive suit perfectly pressed, despite the 12 hours we've spent in this delivery room. I want a DNA test. His voice is flat, emotionless, like he's ordering coffee, not questioning the paternity of our newborn daughter. The nurse freezes, her hands still cradling our baby, my baby. The room seems to shrink. The beeping monitors, suddenly too loud, too intrusive. Dr. Collins looks up from his charts, his weathered face creasing with concern. Adam, what are you talking about? My voice sounds strange, distant, like it belongs to someone else. He won't meet my eyes. Instead, he stares at our daughter. 7 pounds, 4 ounces of perfection, with cold calculation. You heard me, McKenna. I want proof she's mine. The accusation hangs in the air like poison gas. 12 years of marriage, reduced to this moment. I want to scream, to throw something, to make him feel even a fraction of the pain shooting through my chest. Instead, I laugh. It's an ugly sound, raw and bitter. Get out. The words taste like metal in my mouth. Get out before I call security. Mrs. Harrison, Dr. Collins starts, but Adam cuts him off. I have every right to be here, and every right to request this test. He pulls out his phone, fingers flying over the screen. My lawyer says, "Your lawyer?" The words explode from me. You've been talking to your lawyer while I was in labor? A slight flush creeps up his neck, the only sign that he's even capable of shame anymore. I've been preparing for this moment for weeks. Weeks. The word echoes in my head. While I was picking out nursery colors and folding tiny onesies, my husband was planning this ambush. The realization hits me like a physical blow. The nurse, bless her, steps between us. Sir, perhaps we should continue this discussion outside. No, I force myself to sit up straighter, ignoring the protest from my aching body. Let him stay. Let him watch the test. Let him see exactly how wrong he is. Adam's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. Disappointment. Relief. I can't tell anymore. I used to know every micro-expression, every tell. When did my husband become a stranger? I'll arrange it immediately, Dr. Collins says, his tone carefully neutral. Though I must say, in my 30 years of practice, just do it, Adam snaps. He straightens his tie, a nervous habit I once found endearing. The sooner we know the truth, the better. The truth. As if he has any idea what that word means anymore. I look down at our daughter, my daughter, sleeping peacefully in the bassinet, unaware of the storm brewing around her. Her tiny fingers are curled into fists, her dark hair already showing signs of curl, just like mine. Fine, I say, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. Do the test. But when it proves what I already know, don't expect forgiveness. Adam's phone buzzes. He glances at it, and for a split second, his mask slips. Fear? Guilt? Before I can process it, he's heading for the door. I'll be back tomorrow, he says, not looking back. My lawyer will contact you about the arrangements. The door clicks shut behind him, and suddenly I can breathe again. Dr. Collins places a gentle hand on my shoulder. McKenna, I'm so sorry. Don't. I reach for my phone, my fingers already finding Sam's number. My cousin will know what to do. He always does. Just get me the paperwork for the test. And Dr. Collins, make sure it's witnessed, every step. He nods, understanding dawning in his eyes. Of course. I look at my daughter again, memorizing every perfect detail of her face. Whatever game Adam's playing, whatever lies he's telling himself, one thing is certain. He has no idea what he's started. Sam's apartment feels like a sanctuary after 3 days in the hospital. I sink into his weathered leather couch, cradling Emma while Tara bustles around the kitchen, making tea. The familiar scent of old books and coffee grounds helps steady my nerves, but my hands won't stop shaking. He's changed all the locks, I say, watching Sam pace. Change the security codes too. 12 years of marriage, and he locks me out like I'm some kind of criminal. Sam stops pacing, his journalist's notebook already full of scribbled notes. When exactly did things start changing with Adam? Think back carefully. The question hits like a punch to the gut. I close my eyes, trying to pinpoint the moment my marriage began to crack. Maybe 4 months ago. He started working late, missing doctor's appointments, said it was a big merger. The Preston Tech deal? Tara sets down a mug of chamomile tea, her expression troubled. That closed months ago. I look up sharply. How do you know that? Because my sister works in their PR department. Tara exchanges a look with Sam. The deal fell through in March. When Adam started coming home with expensive new suits. When the mysterious business trips began. When he stopped touching me altogether. Here's what doesn't add up, Sam says, tapping his pen against the notebook. Why wait until the baby was born to demand a DNA test? Why not do it during the pregnancy? Because he needed a scene, Tara says quietly. He needed witnesses. The realization hits me like ice water. He's building a case against me. Emma stirs in my arms, and I adjust her blanket automatically. Her tiny face is so peaceful, so trusting, just like I used to be. There's something else, Sam says, hesitating. I made some calls. Adam's been meeting with divorce attorneys since January. When I first told him I was pregnant, when he smiled and hugged me and said everything was perfect. That son of a, I catch myself, looking down at Emma. Why go through with the pregnancy if he was planning this all along? Because of the Harrison family trust, Tara says. Your father-in-law's will had specific conditions about heirs, didn't it? The pieces start falling into place. The trust only pays out if there are legitimate children. My voice sounds hollow, even to my own ears. He needed proof the baby wasn't his to invalidate the claim. Sam's phone buzzes. He glances at it, his expression darkening. Adam just posted on LinkedIn. He's accepted a new position at Grant Technologies. Grant, the name triggers something in my memory. Wait, isn't that the company that tried to buy out Harrison Industries last year? Sam finishes. The same one your father-in-law refused to sell to before he died. A knock at the door makes us all jump. Tara peers through the peephole, then quickly steps back. It's Adam. Don't open it, I whisper, clutching Emma closer. McKenna, Adam's voice carries through the door. I know you're in there. The DNA test is scheduled for tomorrow morning. My lawyer insists you be present. Sam moves toward the door, but I grab his arm. Wait, let him talk. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Adam continues, his tone shifting to something almost gentle. Just come home. We can work this out. I stand up slowly, careful not to wake Emma. Work what out, Adam? The lies? The secret meetings? Or how about the trust fund you're trying to steal? Silence. Then, I don't know what you think you know. I know enough. My voice doesn't shake anymore. I know about Grant Technologies. I know about the divorce lawyers. And soon, I'll know everything else too. Another pause. When he speaks again, all pretense of gentleness is gone. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Neither do you. I look down at our daughter, my daughter, and something hardens inside me. Game on, Adam. His footsteps retreat down the hallway. Sam locks the door, then turns to me. What's the plan? I pull out my phone, scrolling through old contacts until I find the one I need. First, we find out everything we can about Grant Technologies. And then, I press dial. We call in some favors. The phone rings twice before a familiar voice answers. Dr. Collins, I need your help with something. Dr. Collins slides the phone across his desk, his expression grim. These messages were automatically backed up to the cloud account you shared. I thought you should see them. My hands tremble as I pick up the device. The timestamp shows 3:47 a.m., 2 days before I went into labor. Everything's arranged, the message reads. Once the test results come back, she won't have any claim to the trust. Make sure you stick to the plan. The response is from Adam. She suspects nothing. Just keep your father focused on the merger. Evelyn Grant, Dr. Collins says quietly, daughter of Marcus Grant. The name tastes bitter in my mouth. The man who tried to force my father-in-law to sell his company last year. Sam leans forward, his journalist instincts kicking in. The same Marcus Grant who mysteriously acquired 3 board seats after your father-in-law's death. I scroll through more messages, each one worse than the last. Plans, meetings, intimate details that make my stomach turn. They've been seeing each other since January, the same month I told him about the baby. The timing's not coincidental, Sam says. Grant Technologies announced their hostile takeover bid last week. With Adam's help, they'll have controlling interest in Harrison Industries. Unless there's a legitimate heir, the pieces click into place. That's why he needs the DNA test, to show Emma isn't his. It's not about the baby at all. It's about the company. A knock interrupts us. Tara slips in, her face pale. Adam's here, with lawyers. My heart pounds. But I force myself to stay calm. Let them in. Adam enters like he owns the place, flanked by 2 suits, who probably cost more than my annual salary. He looks different, sharper, colder, wearing a tie I've never seen before. This is a private medical facility, Dr. Collins starts, but Adam cuts him off. Where we're conducting a paternity test that my client has every right to oversee. The older lawyer steps forward. We have concerns about potential tampering. I laugh. I can't help it. Tampering? That's rich, coming from you. Adam's jaw tightens. Careful, McKenna. You're already facing potential fraud charges. If what? I hold up the phone. If these messages somehow become public, the ones showing you and Evelyn planning to steal your father's company. He freezes. For just a second, I see real fear in his eyes. You had access to your private messages on our shared cloud account. I stand up, anger giving me strength. The one you forgot to disconnect when you were so busy planning your little corporate takeover. The younger lawyer whispers something in Adam's ear. His face darkens. This changes nothing, he says, but his voice wavers. The test will proceed exactly as planned. Dr. Collins interrupts. Under my supervision, with witnesses present. Unless you'd prefer to explain to the board why you're colluding with Grant Technologies while serving as Harrison Industries CFO? Adam's hand twitches toward his phone, but Sam steps forward. I wouldn't. My article about corporate espionage at Grant Technologies goes live in an hour. Fascinating stuff about insider trading and family betrayal. You're bluffing, Adam says, but sweat beads on his forehead. I move closer, keeping my voice low. You want a war, Adam? Fine. But remember, you taught me everything about corporate finance during those late-night strategy sessions. Everything. McKenna. And I learned something else from you too. I show him the last message he sent Evelyn, the one about love and forever. Always keep receipts. The lawyers exchange glances. The older one clears his throat. Perhaps we should discuss terms. No terms, I say, watching Adam's perfect facade crack. No deals. You wanted to play dirty? Let's play. But remember, you're not just fighting for money anymore. You're fighting for survival. They leave, Adam's shoulders rigid with fury. Sam whistles low. That was just the beginning, I finish, sitting back down as my legs threaten to give out. Dr. Collins, how long until the test results? 24 hours. He studies me carefully. Are you sure about this? Once we start, I'm sure. I look at the photo on his desk, the one of him with my father-in-law at medical school graduation. He trusted the wrong people. I won't make the same mistake. Sam squeezes my shoulder. What's next? I pull out my own phone, scrolling to a number I never thought I'd use. Next, we talk to Evelyn Grant. It's time she learned what kind of man she's really dealing with. The Grant Technologies lobby gleams with wealth and power, all steel and glass, reaching toward the sky. I adjust Emma's carrier on my arm, feeling small, until I catch my reflection in the polished marble. I'm wearing one of Adam's favorite suits, the one he bought me for board meetings. It fits differently now, but the armor is what matters. Miss Grant is in a meeting. The receptionist says, not bothering to look up. Tell her McKenna Harrison is here. I keep my voice steady. With her fiancé's baby, the clicking of keys stops. Her head snaps up, eyes widening as she takes in Emma's dark curls. So like Adam's. 5 minutes later, I'm sitting across from Evelyn Grant in her corner office. She's younger than I expected, perfectly polished, in a way that speaks of old money and careful breeding. Her engagement ring catches the light. 3 carats, princess cut, just like the one in Adam's browser history. I don't understand, she says, but her hands betray her, twisting a pen until her knuckles go white. Adam never mentioned. A wife? A baby. I gentle Emma's fussing with practiced ease. Funny how those details slip his mind when he's planning corporate takeovers. Her face drains of color. You can't prove. I slide my phone across her desk, screenshots displayed. Actually, I can. The question is, what will your father say when he learns his perfect future son-in-law is still married? That he's using your relationship to manipulate Harrison Industries stock? You're lying. But she's already reading, her perfectly manicured finger scrolling through message after message. The DNA test is tomorrow. I continue, watching her face. Adam's quite confident about the results, almost like he knows something I don't. She looks up sharply. Something flickers in her eyes. Recognition. Fear. My phone buzzes. Sam's text makes my blood run cold. Lab break-in last night. Security footage wiped. He wouldn't, Evelyn whispers, more to herself than me. Daddy would never. Your father's company stands to gain millions if Harrison Industries falls. I lean forward, and Adam stands to gain everything, unless there's a legitimate heir. The pen in her hands snaps. Ink bleeds across her pristine desk calendar. staining wedding venue appointments and merger dates alike. Get out, her voice shakes. Before I call security, I stand slowly, gathering Emma close. You know what's funny? He bought me that exact same ring 5 years ago. Promised me the same forever. Even used the same pet names. I said, get out. Check his phone, I say softly. The one he keeps in his gym locker. The one with the real messages. She freezes. How did you? Because I was you once. Young, in love, certain he was different. I head for the door, then pause. Oh, and Evelyn. When you confront him, watch his left eyebrow. It twitches when he lies. The elevator doors close on her shattered expression. My hands shake as I text Sam. It's done. Start phase 2. His reply is immediate. Tara's contact at the lab confirmed tampering attempts. Dr. Collins is moving the test to a secure facility. Another message pops up from an unknown number. My heart stops when I open it. Clever girl, Adam writes. But you forgot who taught you how to play chess. Check your Harrison Industries email. You have 1 hour to resign from the board, or those creative accounting fixes you helped me with last year go public. Your move. I stare at the screen, remembering late nights poring over spreadsheets, trusting Adam's guidance, signing documents he swore were routine. My stomach churns as I realize just how long he's been planning this. Emma stirs, her tiny hand catching my finger. In her face, I see my father-in-law's strength, my own determination, and something else. Something Adam never understood about the Harrison legacy. I dial Dr. Collins. How quickly can you access the original audit files from last year? Already done, he replies. And McKenna, I found something interesting in your father-in-law's private records. Something about a contingency plan. For the first time in days, I smile. Tell me everything. The game isn't over, it's just beginning. The secure lab feels like a fortress. All sterile whites and security cameras tracking our every move. Dr. Collins stands at the testing station, his face unreadable as Adam's lawyers hover nearby. Emma sleeps in her carrier, oblivious to the tension crackling through the room. The results will be available in 30 minutes, Dr. Collins announces. All parties will remain present until the door bursts open. Evelyn Grant storms in, her perfect composure shattered, mascara streaking her cheeks. You bastard. Adam steps back, his confident mask slipping. Evelyn, this isn't the gym locker. She hurls her phone at him. It crashes against the wall. 3 other women, and you're still married? The lawyers exchange alarmed glances. One reaches for his briefcase, but Sam blocks his path. Nobody leaves, he says quietly. Not until we hear those results. Adam straightens his tie, a nervous tell I'd forgotten until now. This is ridiculous. Whatever McKenna told you, she didn't have to tell me anything. Evelyn's voice breaks. Your friend Marcus was quite helpful once I showed him the real numbers behind the Grant Technologies merger. The color drains from Adam's face. You didn't. Daddy's on his way. She smiles, bitter and sharp. With the SEC, my phone vibrates. A message from Tara. Security footage recovered. Lab break-in suspect identified. I slide the phone to Dr. Collins. He studies the image, then looks at Adam's younger lawyer. The man starts sweating. Interesting, Dr. Collins says. Very interesting indeed. Adam's eyes dart between us, calculating. I recognize that look, the one he gets when he's about to sacrifice a piece to save his game. The accounting irregularities, he says suddenly. McKenna signed off on all of them. She's just as culpable. Except for the contingency plan, I interrupt, watching his face. The one my father-in-law left with Dr. Collins before he died. Adam freezes. What? He knew Adam. About the embezzlement, about Grant Technologies. He documented everything. My voice doesn't shake anymore, including your attempts to access Emma's trust fund before she was even born. The older lawyer clears his throat. Mr. Harrison, perhaps we should shut up. Adam's composure cracks completely. He rounds on me, fists clenched. You're bluffing. Richard never. Your father trusted me, Dr. Collins says quietly. Not just as his doctor, but as executor of his estate, including the real will. The machine beeps. Test results ready. Adam lunges for the printout, but Sam intercepts him. It's over, Sam says. The SEC has everything. The fake DNA test orders, the embezzlement records, even your deals with Marcus. Footsteps echo in the hallway. Heavy, purposeful. Adam backs away from the door. McKenna, he tries, voice softening to that familiar, manipulative tone. We can still fix this, for Emma's sake. Don't you dare. The words burn like acid. Don't you dare use our daughter as a bargaining chip. The door opens. Marcus Grant enters first, followed by two SEC agents. Behind them, Tara holds up her phone, recording everything. Adam Harrison, one agent begins. You're under investigation for securities fraud. What happens next seems to unfold in slow motion. Adam bolts toward the emergency exit. The younger lawyer moves to block Sam. Evelyn screams something about betrayal. And through it all, Emma sleeps peacefully, unaware that her world is shifting on its axis. Dr. Collins touches my arm, holding out the test results. Do you want to know? I stare at the paper, remembering all the nights I wondered if Adam's accusations held any truth, if I'd somehow failed as a wife, as a mother. No, I say finally, watching the SEC agents handcuff my husband. The results don't matter anymore. She's my daughter. That's all I need to know. Marcus Grant approaches, his face grave. Mrs. Harrison, we'll need your testimony. Tomorrow, I cut in, gathering Emma close. Right now, I'm taking my daughter home. As we leave, I hear Adam calling my name. Desperate now, finally understanding what he's lost. I don't look back. Some games aren't worth winning. Some victories come not from revenge, but from walking away. Tomorrow will bring lawyers and testimonies and battles for control of Harrison Industries. But tonight, I have everything I need in my arms. The Harrison Industries boardroom feels colder than I remember. Maybe it's the empty chairs. Half the board resigned after the SEC investigation went public. Maybe it's the way Dr. Collins keeps checking his watch, or how Sam won't meet my eyes. The evidence is conclusive, Marcus Grant says, spreading documents across the polished table. The DNA test results were altered before they reached the lab. However, Adam's new lawyer interrupts. My client maintains that Mrs. Harrison was complicit in the financial irregularities. The signature on these documents were forged, I say, but my voice sounds hollow even to me. Can you prove it? The lawyer slides more papers forward. Because these trading records show otherwise. Your personal account received substantial transfers during the period in question. My hands shake as I recognize the account numbers. Our joint account, the one Adam insisted I stop monitoring because he had it handled. Sam stands abruptly. This is ridiculous. McKenna was on maternity leave when she authorized these transactions. The lawyer's smile is shark-like. The timestamps say otherwise. Dr. Collins clears his throat. The contingency plan has been compromised. Marcus Grant's words fall like stones. Someone accessed Richard Harrison's private files last night. Everything's gone. The room spins. I grip the table edge, feeling the ground shift beneath me. That's impossible. The security protocols were bypassed using your credentials. The lawyer looks almost sympathetic, along with some very interesting emails about offshore accounts. My phone buzzes. Tara sending emergency updates. The company stock is in free fall. News outlets are running stories about fraud at all levels of Harrison Industries. Social media is exploding with speculation about the DNA test scandal. I can explain, I start, but Adam's lawyer holds up his hand. Save it for the SEC hearing. He stands, straightening his papers. In the meantime, the board has called for an emergency vote of no confidence. Given the circumstances, you can't. The words scrape my throat. This company was my father-in-law's life work. He trusted me to trust? Adam's voice makes me flinch. He stands in the doorway, immaculate, despite his house arrest ankle monitor. Like I trusted you not to go behind my back to Evelyn. Don't you dare. The board needs stability, he continues smoothly. Someone with clean hands to weather this storm. Fortunately, my agreement with the SEC includes full cooperation in exchange for a reduced sentence. The pieces click into place, the compromised files, the forged signatures, the carefully constructed paper trail leading straight to me. You're going to pin everything on me. The realization tastes like ash. The fraud, the cover-up, all of it. His left eyebrow twitches. The tell I warned Evelyn about. You did this to yourself, McKenna. If you'd just played along? I stand so quickly my chair topples. While you stole my daughter's inheritance, while you destroyed everything Richard built, your daughter, his smile turns cruel. About that, the original DNA test results were quite interesting. The room goes silent. Sam moves toward Adam, but security guards step between them. You're lying, I whisper. But doubt creeps in like poison. All those late nights at the office, the mysterious business trips, the way he never wanted to discuss baby names or nursery colors. Am I? He pulls out his phone, showing a lab report I've never seen. Want to explain these genetic markers? Dr. Collins starts to speak, but Adam's lawyer cuts him off. My client is prepared to file for full custody, given the circumstances. The court tends to frown on fraud and embezzlement when determining fitness for parenthood. The world narrows to a pinpoint. I see Emma's face, her tiny fingers, her dark curls. I hear her midnight cries and morning giggles. I feel the weight of her in my arms. The only thing that's felt real since this nightmare began. The board votes in an hour, Adam says softly. Resign now, sign over your shares, and maybe we can arrange supervised visitation. Sam grabs my arm as I sway. McKenna, don't, but I'm already reaching for the resignation letter, my vision blurring. Sometimes surrender isn't about giving up. Sometimes it's about buying time to find another way to fight. Dr. Collins' office feels different at midnight. Shadows creep across his father's medical degrees, and the steady hum of backup generators masks our footsteps. Sam keeps watch at the door while Tara works her magic on the computer. Found it, she whispers. The original server backup. Adam's people missed it during the purge. My hands shake as I insert the flash drive Richard Harrison gave me years ago. His insurance policy that I never thought I'd need. How long? 10 minutes to decrypt. Tara's fingers fly across the keyboard. If your father-in-law's passwords still work, the door crashes open. Adam stands there, flanked by 2 security guards. His ankle monitor blinks accusingly in the darkness. I knew you'd try something desperate. He steps inside, straightening his cuffs. But breaking and entering, that's going to look terrible in the custody hearing. Sam moves between us. How did you find you? Adam's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Dr. Collins isn't as loyal as you thought. Everyone has a price. Like Evelyn's price? The words taste bitter. Or was she just another stepping stone? His composure cracks just for a second. You don't understand what's at stake. 7 minutes. Tara murmurs behind me. Adam's eyes narrow. Whatever you're trying to recover, it won't matter. The board votes tomorrow morning. Your resignation is already processed. Funny thing about resignations, I say, watching the progress bar crawl. They're not valid if signed under duress, or if the person demanding them is committing fraud. He laughs, but there's an edge of uncertainty. You can't prove anything. 5 minutes, Tara says. Adam signals the guards. Shut it down, now. Wait. I step forward, playing my last card. The real DNA results. Show them to me. We've been through this. Show me, or I forward everything we find to the SEC. Every email, every transaction, every meeting with Marcus Grant. His left eyebrow twitches. You're bluffing. 3 minutes, Tara announces. The guards move toward the computer. Sam tenses, ready to intervene. She's yours. Adam's words freeze everyone in place. The DNA test, the real one, it proves she's yours. I altered the results because I needed leverage. The admission should hurt, but all I feel is clarity. You never wanted her anyway, did you? She was just another asset to control. 2 minutes. Adam's facade finally cracks. You think this is about a baby. This is about power, control. Everything Richard promised me when he made me CFO. He promised you a legacy, I say quietly. Not a kingdom to steal. 1 minute. Adam lunges for the computer. Sam intercepts him as Tara shields the screen. In the chaos, something falls from Adam's pocket. A phone I've never seen before. I grab it, finding the messages instantly. Conversations with Marcus Grant. Plans to strip Harrison Industries for parts. And something else. Emails from Dr. Collins. It's done, Tara says triumphantly. Everything's decrypted. Adam goes still. You don't want to open that file. But I already am. Richard Harrison's voice fills the room. A video confession recorded days before his death. He names names, details, schemes, and reveals one final twist. The company was never yours to steal, I tell Adam, understanding, at last. Richard changed his will before he died. He left controlling interest to Emma. Impossible, but Adam's voice shakes. She wasn't even born? I show him the date on the will. He knew, Adam, about everything. The affairs, the fraud, the deals with Grant Technologies. This whole time, you've been playing exactly the game he expected. Police sirens wail in the distance. Adam's face contorts with fury. You think you've won? I still have the board, the evidence, your signed confession. Check your phone, Sam says quietly. The real one you just dropped. Adam's eyes widen as messages flood in. The SEC reopening their investigation. Marcus Grant cutting deals to save himself. Evelyn's father withdrawing all support. And Dr. Collins sending one final message. I kept my promise, Richard. Your granddaughter's legacy is safe. The police burst in as Adam crumples, his empire of lies collapsing around him. But I'm already walking away, thinking of Emma sleeping peacefully at home. Some victories aren't about winning. They're about protecting what matters most. The Harrison Industries boardroom still holds echoes of last night's chaos. Police tape crosses the doorway, and evidence markers dot the conference table where Adam's empire finally crumbled. Dr. Collins hands me a leather portfolio, Richard Harrison's personal files. He wanted you to have these, he says quietly, when the time was right. Inside, beneath years of financial records and corporate strategies, I find a letter. The paper is aged, the ink faded, but Richard's decisive handwriting remains clear. My dear McKenna, by now you'll understand why I chose you to protect Emma's inheritance. Not because you're Adam's wife, but because you see what he never could. That legacy isn't measured in stock prices or merger deals. It's built in moments of choice, in decisions to protect rather than destroy. Emma fusses in her carrier. I adjust her blanket, catching a glimpse of my reflection in the darkened windows. I look different somehow. Stronger, maybe, or just more certain. Sam appears in the doorway. The SEC wants to review the video testimony again, and Evelyn Grant is here. I expect anger when Evelyn enters, but her eyes hold only exhaustion. The board approved the dissolution of the merger attempt, she says. Daddy's stepping down. The scandal. She trails off, twisting her now ringless fingers. I never wanted this, I tell her. It's true, mostly. Neither did I. She looks at Emma, something softening in her face. You know, he promised me children too. A future. I actually believed. I know, because I did too, once. Dr. Collins clears his throat. The new board members are waiting. They'll need direction regarding the company's future. I think of Richard's letter, of choices and legacies. Tell them we're restructuring, starting with the charity foundation, doubling the funding for single-parent support programs. Tara smiles from her spot by the computer, already drafting the press release. A commotion outside draws our attention. Through the glass walls, I see Adam being escorted out by federal agents, his perfect suit wrinkled, his mask of confidence finally shattered. He catches my eye, starts to speak. I turn away. Some conversations aren't worth having. There's something else, Dr. Collins says, producing another envelope. Your father-in-law left specific instructions about Emma's trust. It's not just money, it's a challenge grant. Every dollar has to be matched by community investment projects. I laugh, understanding at last. He made sure the legacy couldn't be stolen. It has to be earned. Speaking of earning, Sam interjects, the investigative piece just went live. Corporate corruption and the price of truth. Though personally, I think karma in the boardroom had a better ring to it. No more karma, I decide, watching Emma drift to sleep. No more revenge either, just forward motion. Dr. Collins raises an eyebrow. And Adam? Will face justice through proper channels. I close Richard's portfolio. I'm done playing his games. Evelyn stands to leave, pausing at the door. For what it's worth, I think Richard chose well, not just for the company, but for her. She nods toward Emma. After she's gone, I walk to Richard's old office. His nameplate still hangs on the door, though soon it will read Harrison Industries, Trust Management. Inside, his presence lingers in every carefully chosen detail. I find one last note, tucked into his desk calendar, dated the day he died. Remember, power isn't in knowing when to fight, it's in knowing when to stop. Emma wakes, demanding attention with her father's determination, but, thankfully, none of his calculation. I lift her, breathing in that perfect baby scent. Ready to go home? Sam asks from the doorway. Not home, I correct him, gathering our things. Forward. Outside, reporters wait with questions about scandal and redemption. Tomorrow will bring lawyers and restructuring plans and 1,000 decisions about Emma's future. But right now, in this moment of quiet victory, I understand what Richard knew all along. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't in destroying what others built, but in building something better from the ashes they left behind.
The old video plays like a knife twisting in my gut. There I am, 5 years old, hovering at the edge of the frame while my parents fawn over Olivia's perfect ballet recital pose. My sister twirls and preens, her tutu catching the light, while I stand forgotten in my matching outfit, waiting for someone, anyone, to notice me. I found the tape buried in a box of old memories while cleaning out the attic. Now I can't stop watching it, cataloging every moment my parents' eyes slide past me like I'm made of smoke. The camera stays fixed on Olivia as she performs her routine. Mom's voice coos from behind the lens. That's our little star. Show Daddy your beautiful pirouette. My name is Maya. For 17 years, I've been the shadow to my twin sister's spotlight. I pause the video, studying our identical faces frozen on the screen. Same honey brown hair, same green eyes, same button nose. But somehow Olivia has always been the one who sparkles, who draws every eye in the room. I press play again, masochistically drinking in the proof of what I've always felt but could never quite prove. Maya, honey, Mom's voice floats up from downstairs, interrupting my spiral. Have you finished sorting those boxes yet? The donation truck comes tomorrow. Almost done, I call back, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. I've gotten good at keeping my voice light, at swallowing the bitterness that threatens to choke me. The attic door creaks open and footsteps sound on the stairs. Olivia appears, perfect as always in her cheerleading uniform. Mom wants us downstairs for dinner. She's made that gross quinoa thing again because Coach says I need more protein. She wrinkles her nose, then notices the TV. Oh my God, is that our old recital? I was so cute. She drops down beside me, oblivious to how I stiffen. On screen, little Olivia takes a bow while our parents applaud. Past me edges closer to the camera, mouth opening to speak. But Mom's voice cuts in. Wait, sweetie, Let's get another take of that bow. Olivia, from the beginning. Present day, Olivia laughs. God, I was such an attention hog. Still am, I guess. She bumps my shoulder playfully, but I barely feel it. My mind is racing, pieces clicking into place like tumblers in a lock. Every dance recital, every school play, every parent-teacher conference where they'd beam at Olivia's straight A's and barely glance at my equally perfect report card. It wasn't just in my head. It wasn't my imagination or my insecurity or my jealousy. It was real. It's always been real. Maya? Olivia waves her hand in front of my face. Earth to space, cadet. Are you coming down or what? I stand abruptly, nearly knocking her over. Yeah, just need to finish up here. My voice sounds strange, distant, like it's coming from someone else entirely. Okay, weirdo. She bounces up, heading for the stairs. Don't take too long or Mom will flip. You know how she gets about family dinner. I wait until her footsteps fade before ejecting the tape. My fingers trace the label. Olivia's recital, age 5. Not the twins' recital. Not even a mention of my name. Something shifts inside me, like a gear clicking into place. All these years, I've tried so hard to be noticed, to be worthy of the same love they shower on my sister. But watching that video, seeing the truth laid bare in grainy Technicolor, I realize I've been playing the wrong game entirely. They want to pretend I'm invisible? Fine, let them. They won't see me coming until it's too late. I tuck the tape into my pocket and head downstairs, a plan already taking shape in my mind. Time to show them exactly what their forgotten daughter is capable of. The acceptance letter from Stanford sits heavy in my backpack during dinner. I've been carrying it around for 3 days, waiting for the right moment to share my news. Tonight feels different. Dad's actually home before 8, and Mom made Olivia's favorite lasagna to celebrate her making cheer captain. I still can't believe Coach picked me over Jessica, Olivia gushes, twirling pasta around her fork. She's a senior. Because you're exceptional, sweetheart. Mom reaches across the table to squeeze Olivia's hand. We always knew you were destined for great things. I clear my throat. Actually, I have some news too. Oh, did you hear back from state? Dad glances up from his phone. That's a solid backup school. No, Olivia, tell your father about the new routine you're choreographing, Mom interrupts. The one with the advanced aerial? My fingers curl around the letter in my pocket. The crisp edge of the envelope cuts into my palm as Olivia launches into a detailed description of her latest achievement. I watch my parents lean forward, hanging on every word, and something inside me calcifies. I got into Stanford, I say, my voice cutting through Olivia's chatter. Early decision, full academic scholarship. The silence that follows is deafening. Mom's fork freezes halfway to her mouth. Dad finally puts down his phone. Stanford? Olivia's eyes go wide. When did you even apply? Maya, that's... Mom sets down her fork. Sweetheart, we discussed this. The plan was for both of you to attend state together. Your father's alumni status would have guaranteed Olivia's admission. Of course, it always comes back to Olivia. I didn't want state. The words come out sharper than intended. I wanted Stanford, and I got in, on my own merit. Now, Maya. Dad's using his accountant voice, the one reserved for difficult clients. Let's be practical. Stanford is across the country, the cost alone. I told you, full scholarship. They want me for their advanced mathematics program. Mathematics? Mom's laugh is brittle. Darling, what kind of career is that? Now, business school like your sister's planning? I don't want business school. My voice rises despite my efforts to stay calm. I want theoretical mathematics. I want Stanford. I want... To abandon your sister? Mom cuts in. After everything we've done to keep you girls together? Olivia shifts uncomfortably. Mom, it's okay. Maya should. Stay quiet, sweetie. This doesn't concern you. Mom's smile is sharp as glass. Maya's just being selfish as usual. The word hits like a slap. Selfish. Because wanting anything for myself, separate from Olivia, is an act of betrayal. I push back my chair, the legs scraping against hardwood. You know what's selfish? Treating one daughter like she's made of gold while the other might as well be invisible. Watching that old recital video really opened my eyes. Mom's face goes white. What video? The one where you couldn't even be bothered to say my name, where you acted like I didn't exist while Olivia danced. My laugh sounds foreign to my own ears. Guess what? I existed then, and I exist now, and I'm going to Stanford. Maya, Dad starts, but I'm already heading for the stairs. Don't worry, I call over my shoulder. I'm sure you'll barely notice I'm gone. You've had plenty of practice ignoring me. In my room, I pull out my phone and text Ryan. It's done. They reacted exactly like you said they would. His reply comes instantly. You okay? I think about the carefully crafted plan we've been working on, about the secret bank account I opened last month, about the research I've done into my mother's past and the skeletons I've started uncovering. Better than okay, I type back. This is just the beginning. From downstairs, I can hear Mom's voice rising, probably already spinning this into another story about how difficult I am, how I never consider anyone but myself. Let her talk. She has no idea what's coming. I pull out the old recital video and start it playing again, but this time, I'm not watching Olivia dance. I'm watching myself in the background, learning how to disappear. It's a skill that's gonna come in very handy. The envelope from my grandparents trembles in my hands as I read their letter for the third time. Ryan sits cross-legged on my bed, watching me process the bomb they've just dropped into my carefully constructed plans. Your mother did what? He asks. Stole their retirement savings? My voice sounds hollow even to my own ears. 25 years ago, right before she married Dad, cleaned out their accounts and vanished for months. That's why they're not in any of our family photos. That's why they've never been allowed to visit. A door slams downstairs, followed by the click of Mom's heels on hardwood. My heart rate spikes. I stuff the letter under my pillow just as she appears in my doorway, all perfect makeup and forced smile. Maya, honey. Oh. Her eyes narrow at Ryan. I didn't realize you had company. We're studying. I gesture at the calculus book spread across my bed, the perfect alibi. Well, I need to speak with you, alone. Her tone leaves no room for argument. Ryan catches my eye, a silent question. I nod slightly, our signal that I'm okay. He gathers his books and slides past Mom with a polite, "Goodbye, Mrs. Thompson." The moment he's gone, Mom closes the door. I got an interesting call today. She perches on my desk chair, smoothing her skirt. From Margaret Wilson. Ice spreads through my veins. Who? Don't play dumb, Maya. It doesn't suit you. Her smile vanishes. My mother called my office. Apparently, someone's been asking questions about what happened in 1997. Maybe she just wants to reconnect. What exactly are you hoping to find? She cuts me off. Some tragic story about how they were wronged? How I'm the villain? Are you? The question hangs between us like smoke. Mom's perfectly manicured nails dig into her palm. You have no idea what they were like, she says finally. Controlling, manipulative. They wanted to run my entire life. That money? It was mine. They promised it for my wedding, then tried to use it to force me to marry their choice of husband. So you stole it? I liberated what was rightfully mine. Her voice rises. I built a life on my own terms. Met your father, started our family. Started playing favorites, I interrupt. Tell me, Mom, did your parents do that too? Make you feel invisible while they doted on someone else? Color drains from her face. Is that what this is about? You're still upset about the Stanford discussion? This is about 17 years of watching you worship Olivia while treating me like an afterthought. That's ridiculous. I love you both equally. When's my next math competition? She blinks. What? My next competition. The one I've been training for all semester. When is it? Silence stretches between us. I watch realization dawn in her eyes. She has no idea. But you know every detail of Olivia's cheer schedule, I continue. Every competition, every practice, every uniform fitting. Maya, you know what the really funny thing is? I stand, forcing her to look up at me. Your parents set up trust funds for both Olivia and me, equal amounts. They never forgot about either of their grandchildren, even though they've never met us. Mom goes very still. How do you know about the trust funds? I pull out my phone, show her the email from Henry Wilson. They want to meet. They've been waiting 17 years to meet us, and they want to know if you're ready to pay back what you stole. You have no right. She stands abruptly, hands shaking. I forbid you from contacting them again. They're manipulating you, just like they tried to manipulate me. Or maybe they're just showing me what actual family loyalty looks like. The slap echoes in the sudden silence. My cheek burns where her ring caught my skin. We stare at each other, both shocked by the violence of the moment. Maya, she whispers, reaching for me. I didn't mean. I step back, my voice steady despite my racing heart. You should go check on Olivia. I'm sure she needs something. After she leaves, I touch my cheek and smile. The sting feels like victory, like validation, like proof. I pull out my phone and text Ryan. Time for phase 2. You still in? His response is immediate. Always, what's the play? I look at the letter from my grandparents, thinking about trust funds and stolen futures, and 17 years of calculated neglect. We're going to make her face everything she's been running from, I type back. Starting with her parents. Ryan's car idles at the end of Maple Drive, while I stare at the Victorian house with its perfect garden. My grandparents' home. After 17 years of pretending they don't exist, I'm about to walk up those steps. Want me to come with? Ryan asks. I shake my head. This part I need to do alone. The bruise on my cheek has faded to yellow, but I can still feel Mom's ring cutting into my skin. I touch it briefly, drawing strength from the memory, then grab my backpack and step out. Margaret Wilson opens the door before I reach the porch. She's smaller than I expected, with Mom's high cheekbones and sharp green eyes. We study each other in silence until Henry appears behind her. You look just like Karen at your age, he says softly. That's not a compliment these days. The words slip out before I can stop them. To my surprise, they both laugh. Margaret steps aside, gesturing me in. No, I suppose it's not. Their living room is filled with photos. Cousins I've never met, holidays I wasn't invited to, and there, on the mantel, 2 recent school pictures, mine and Olivia's. How did you? We have our ways, Henry says. We've kept tabs on you girls, both of you. I pick up my photo. Mom would hate knowing this is here. Your mother hates a lot of things she doesn't understand. Margaret's voice is gentle but firm, including the consequences of her own actions. She disappears into the kitchen, returning with a thick manila envelope. These are copies of everything: bank statements, legal documents, letters, the truth about what happened in '97. My hands shake as I open it. The first document is a bank statement showing a transfer of $250,000, dated 3 days before Mom married Dad. That was your college fund, Henry explains. For both you girls. We'd been saving since Karen was in high school, but she told me you were trying to control her, that you wouldn't let her marry who she wanted. Margaret's laugh is bitter. We wouldn't pay for her wedding to Michael until she finished college. That was the deal. Instead, she cleaned us out and disappeared. And now, I ask, what do you want from me? They exchange a look that speaks volumes. Henry leans forward. We want to make things right. We've set up new trust funds. One for you, one for Olivia. Equal amounts. Mom will never let Olivia accept it. Maybe not, Margaret agrees. But you're 17 now, old enough to make your own choices. I flip through more documents, stopping at a familiar name. Wait, Ryan Brooks? Why is his father's law firm mentioned here? Henry's expression tightens. David Brooks handled our case against Karen back then. He's been helping us track the money ever since. The floor seems to tilt beneath me. Ryan knew. All this time, he knew who my grandparents were, knew about Mom's theft, knew everything. Maya? Margaret touches my arm. Are you all right? I have to go. I stuff the envelope in my backpack, nearly running for the door. I need time to think. Ryan straightens as I approach the car, his familiar, concerned expression now seeming calculated. False. How did it? Your dad's their lawyer. He flinches. Maya, I can explain. Were you ever going to tell me, or just keep manipulating me like some puppet? It wasn't like that. I was trying to help. By lying? By pretending to be surprised every time I discovered something you already knew? His silence is answer enough. I step back from the car, my chest tight with betrayal. Maya, please, everything I did was to help you get justice. No, I say quietly. Everything you did was to help them get revenge. I was just convenient. I turn away, ignoring his calls. Behind me, the Victorian house looms like a monument to family secrets and betrayal. Ahead lies home, where Mom's perfect facade hides even darker truths. For the first time, I wonder if there's anyone in my life who isn't lying to me. My phone buzzes, a text from Olivia. We need to talk. I found something you should see. I stare at the message, remembering the twin trust funds, the matching photos on the mantle. Maybe it's time to reconsider who my real allies are. Olivia's hands tremble as she slides Mom's laptop across my bed. Look at the email drafts folder. I scan the screen, my throat tightening. Dozens of unsent messages to our grandparents, spanning years. Apologies, accusations, pleas for money, each one more desperate than the last. Keep scrolling, Olivia whispers. The most recent draft is dated yesterday. My eyes catch on phrases, financial troubles, firm failing, need the trust fund money. Then, Maya's been asking questions. Dad's business is bankrupt, Olivia says. Has been for months. They've been living on credit cards and loans. The pieces click together. Mom's increased anxiety, Dad's late nights, their desperate push to keep me from Stanford. They want my trust fund. And mine? Olivia's laugh is hollow. Guess being the golden child doesn't protect you from being used. Heavy footsteps on the stairs make us freeze. I slam the laptop shut as Mom appears in the doorway, her perfect smile cracking at the edges when she sees us together. Girls, what are you doing? Just sister stuff, Olivia says brightly, but her fingers dig into my arm. Mom's eyes narrow at the laptop. Olivia, sweetheart, didn't I ask you to practice your routine for regionals? Actually, Mom, Olivia starts. Now, please. The command in her voice makes Olivia flinch. She squeezes my arm once before leaving, her shoulders slumped in a way I've never noticed before. Mom watches her go, then turns to me. I've been thinking about Stanford. Have you? We could make it work. She sits beside me, her perfume suffocating. Your father and we might be able to help with tuition, if you're willing to help us too. You mean if I give you my trust fund? The silence stretches like a rubber band about to snap. Mom's smile vanishes. How did you... Does Dad know what you did to your parents? Or just that we're suddenly having money problems? You have no idea what you're talking about. Her voice shakes. Everything I've done has been for this family, to give you girls the life I never had. You mean the life you stole from them? She grabs my arm, fingers digging in. Listen to me very carefully. Your grandparents are manipulating you. They're trying to turn you against me, just like they tried to control me. If you trust them, what? You'll cut me off, throw me out, make me as invisible as you already have? I'm trying to protect you. No, I wrench away from her. You're trying to protect yourself, just like always. I grab my backpack, already packed with essentials, documents, cash, the backup drive with copies of Mom's emails. Her face pales when she sees it. Maya, wait, I'm done waiting, done being the backup daughter you only notice when you need something. Where are you going? Why start pretending you care now? I shoulder past her, taking the stairs 2 at a time. Olivia stands at the bottom, her gym bag clutched to her chest. Take me with you, she whispers. Mom's voice rings out from above. Olivia, stay right there. For the first time in our lives, Olivia doesn't obey. She reaches for my hand instead. Girls! Mom's heels click on the stairs. Don't you dare! We run. Out the door, down the driveway, past the perfect lawn and the perfect house with its perfect lies. We run until we reach the corner where Margaret Wilson's car idles, just as planned. Both of you? Our grandmother asks, surprised. I look at Olivia, seeing her clearly maybe for the first time. Not the golden child, not my rival, just my sister, equally used, equally trapped. Both of us, I confirm. As we pull away, I watch Mom grow smaller in the rearview mirror, her carefully constructed world crumbling around her. The satisfaction I expected to feel is hollow, replaced by something else. Not quite forgiveness, but maybe understanding. What happens now? Olivia asks quietly. I think about the trust funds, about Stanford, about all the choices that were never really choices at all. Now, I say, we make our own story. Dad's Mercedes pulls into the Wilsons' driveway at midnight. I watch from the upstairs window as he steps out, not the confident accountant in his pressed suit, but a broken man in wrinkled clothes. Mom follows, her perfect mask cracking. They're here, I tell Olivia, who's curled up in Grandma's reading chair. Do we have to see them? Before I can answer, Grandpa Henry's voice carries up the stairs. You have no right to show up here, Karen. They're our daughters. Now they're your daughters? His laugh is bitter. Not just assets to bail out your failing business? Olivia flinches. I grab her hand and we creep to the staircase, staying just out of sight. Michael, Mom's voice breaks. Tell them what we discussed. Dad clears his throat. If the girls come home now, we'll support Maya's Stanford plans. Full tuition. With what money? I call down, making everyone jump. I descend the stairs slowly, Olivia behind me. The firm's bankrupt. You've got nothing left except our trust funds. Maya, Dad starts. Show them, I tell Olivia. She pulls out her phone, hands shaking as she plays the recording. Mom's voice fills the room. Once we have access to their trusts, we'll transfer everything to the Cayman account. They're minors. They'll never trace it. The color drains from Dad's face. Karen, what is she talking about? It's not. Mom's perfect mask shatters completely. You don't understand. The firm, the house, everything we built, it's all falling apart. I was trying to save us. By stealing from your children? Grandma Margaret steps forward. Just like you stole from us? I had no choice. There's always a choice, I say quietly. You just always choose yourself. Mom lunges forward, grabbing my arm. You ungrateful little... Dad catches her, pulls her back. Karen, stop! You're just like them. She's screaming now, mascara running. Manipulative, self-righteous. I gave you everything. You gave me nothing. The words explode out of me. You gave Olivia everything. I was just the backup plan, the spare daughter you kept around in case you needed something. Well, guess what? The spare is done being used. Mr. Thompson, Grandpa Henry's voice cuts through the chaos. The police are on their way. I suggest you leave before they arrive. Police, Dad whispers. Financial fraud? I explain. Wire transfer records, forged documents. Ryan's dad has been building the case for months. Mom goes very still. Ryan Brooks? That boy you've been seeing? That boy whose father you tried to bribe last week. I hold up my phone, showing the email chain. He recorded that conversation too. Sirens wail in the distance. Dad's shoulders slump in defeat, but Mom's eyes turn feral. You think you've won? She laughs, high and brittle. You think this makes us even? I'll tell them everything about the hacking, the stolen passwords, how you and Olivia conspired. Mom, please. Olivia steps forward. Just stop. Don't you see what she's done to us? To our family? You did this, I say softly. All of it. Every lie, every manipulation, every moment you made me feel worthless. It led to this. The sirens are closer now. Dad takes Mom's arm. Karen, we need to go. She yanks away, staring at me with something between hatred and recognition. You really are my daughter, aren't you? Just as calculating, just as ruthless. No, I shake my head. I'm nothing like you, because I'll never abandon my sister. Police lights flash through the windows. Mom's face crumples as Dad finally pulls her toward the door. Maya, she calls back, suddenly sounding very small. I did love you, in my way. I don't answer, can't answer. Just watch as my parents hurry to their car, as red and blue lights flood the driveway, as 17 years of pain and invisibility crystallize into this single moment of hollow victory. Olivia's hand finds mine. Are we terrible people? I think about revenge and justice, about hurt people hurting people, about the thin line between evening the score and becoming what you hate. I don't know, I whisper, but at least we're free. The courthouse bathroom mirror shows two identical faces, but Olivia's makeup is perfect while mine's smeared from crying. 3 months since that night at our grandparents', and here we are, about to testify against our own mother. You don't have to do this, I tell her, fixing my mascara. I can handle it alone. Olivia grabs my hand, stopping its trembling motion. I'm done letting you handle things alone. A knock at the door makes us both jump. Girls, Margaret's voice is gentle. They're ready. The courtroom feels smaller than I expected. Mom sits at the defense table, designer suit pristine, mask firmly in place. Dad's already taken his plea deal, probation and restitution, but Mom refused, convinced she could still control the narrative. Her eyes lock onto mine as I take the stand. I see the exact moment she realizes what's coming, the slight widening, the flash of fear beneath the perfect facade. Miss Thompson, the prosecutor begins, please tell the court about the events of September 15th. I describe finding the video, discovering the financial records, uncovering the web of lies. Mom's attorney objects twice, but the judge allows my testimony. With each word, Mom's mask cracks further. Then the prosecutor holds up an envelope. I'd like to enter this into evidence. A letter from the defendant to her daughters, dated last week. My heart stops. I haven't seen this letter. Objection. Mom's attorney stands. This wasn't overruled. The judge nods. Proceed. The prosecutor hands me the letter. Mom's handwriting is shaky, nothing like her usual precise script. Please read the highlighted portion. I swallow hard. My dearest girls, by the time you read this, I'll have transferred the remaining funds offshore. Your father was weak taking that plea deal, but I'm not going down without a fight. I've arranged everything. Once I'm cleared, we can access the money and start fresh. All you have to do is stick to the story we practiced. Remember who really loves you. Remember who made you what you are. The courtroom erupts in whispers. Mom's attorney looks stricken, but Mom is smiling. You really are my daughter, she says, loud enough for everyone to hear. Playing the long game, using people's weaknesses against them. I taught you well. No, I stand, ignoring the judge's warning. You taught me what not to be. Every manipulation, every lie, every moment you made me feel worthless. It showed me exactly who I never wanted to become. Miss Thompson, the judge warns, but Mom's not done. Everything I did was for you girls. Everything. And this is how you repay me? By destroying our family? You destroyed our family. Olivia's voice rings out as she stands in the gallery. Maya didn't make you steal from our grandparents. She didn't make you plot to steal our trust funds. She didn't make you love me more than her. Order! The judge's gavel cracks like thunder. Mom's perfect mask finally shatters completely. I loved you both. I gave you everything. You gave us trauma, I say quietly, and now we're giving you consequences. The bailiff moves toward Mom as she lunges forward. You ungrateful little... Mrs. Thompson! The judge's voice cuts through the chaos. One more outburst, and you'll be held in contempt. Counselor, control your client. But it's too late. Everyone's seen the real Karen Thompson now. Not the polished real estate agent, not the perfect mother, but the desperate, manipulative woman who would sacrifice her own children to save herself. As security leads her back to her seat, she catches my eye one last time. In that moment, I see something I've never seen before. Recognition, not of me as her daughter, but of herself, of what she's become, of what she's lost. I'm sorry, I whisper, though I'm not sure if I'm apologizing for exposing her or for becoming what I had to become to do it. The judge calls a recess. Olivia meets me at the witness stand, wrapping me in a fierce hug. It's over, she murmurs, but watching Mom being led away, her shoulders straight despite everything, I wonder if anything is ever really over when it comes to family. No, I say. Now we get to start over. The prison visiting room smells like cheap coffee and regret. Mom sits across from me in her beige jumpsuit, her perfect mask finally stripped away. 6 months into her sentence, and this is the first time I've visited. You look well, she says, studying my face. Stanford agrees with you. I'm not here to small talk. I place the envelope on the table between us. Dad signed the trust fund paperwork. It's done. Her fingers twitch, but don't reach for it. And Olivia? Starting UCLA in January, theater major. I watch her face tighten. She's happy, Mom, really happy. Without the pressure, without the expectations. She's finally figuring out who she is. And you? Her voice catches. Have you figured out who you are? The question hits harder than expected. I think about the old recital video, about the invisible girl in the background, about revenge and justice and the thin line between them. I'm working on it, she nods slowly. I've been thinking a lot about patterns and choices. Her hands clench on the table. I saw myself in you that day in court, the calculation, the precision. It terrified me. Because I beat you at your own game? Because I never wanted you to become me. A tear slips down her cheek, the first real one I've ever seen from her. And I realized I'd pushed you right into it. The words I've rehearsed 100 times dissolve on my tongue. Instead, I pull out the old recital video, now transferred to a thumb drive. I watch this every day for months, I tell her, planning, plotting, feeding my anger. But yesterday, I saw something new. I slide it across the table. Watch the end. After the recital, when you thought the camera was off. Her hands shake as she holds the drive. Maya, just watch it. You'll see a mother kneeling beside her quiet daughter, straightening her costume, telling her she doesn't need to dance like her sister to be special. That being different is beautiful too. I stand, my chair scraping loudly. You weren't always this person, Mom. Neither am I. Where are you going? To have dinner with my family. I gesture to the window where Olivia waits with our grandparents. The one we chose. Will you? She swallows hard. Will you come back? I think about patterns and choices, about revenge and redemption, about the fine line between justice and becoming what we hate. I don't know, I answer honestly, but I'm leaving you the video. Maybe it'll help you remember who you were before the masks and the manipulation, before you forgot how to love us equally. She clutches the drive like a lifeline. I did love you. I do. In my way. I know. That's what makes it all so sad. I turn to leave, but her voice stops me. Maya, that day you found the video, were you looking for evidence against me, or were you looking for proof that I loved you? The question hits like a physical blow. I think about the invisible girl in the background, always watching, always hoping. Both, I whisper. Maybe they were the same thing. She nods, understanding finally crossing her face. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. Not for destroying me. Anyone can destroy. I'm proud of you for building something new from the wreckage. I don't respond, but as I walk away, I feel something shift. Not forgiveness exactly, but acceptance of who she is, of who I am, of the complicated truth that we can love people without trusting them, miss them without wanting them back. Outside, Olivia links her arm through mine. You okay? I watch our reflection in the prison window, two identical faces, no longer divided by favorites and spares, just sisters finding their way. I will be, I say, and for the first time, it feels like the truth. We walk toward our grandparents' car, leaving behind the old patterns but carrying the lessons. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying what hurt you. It's building something beautiful in spite of it.
My fingers trembled as I stared at Brandon's phone, the bright screen illuminating words that shouldn't exist. 3 years of text messages to someone named Nora. 3 years of "I miss you and can't wait to see you" and "my wife doesn't understand me." I had to read them twice, 3 times, until the words burned themselves into my brain. I'm Isla, and until 5 minutes ago, I thought I knew what betrayal meant. The kitchen counter felt cold under my palms as I steadied myself. 26 years of marriage reduced to a series of digital love notes and explicit photos. Brandon had left his phone unlocked when he rushed to take that emergency business call in the backyard. Now I knew why he always took those calls outside. "Mom, everything okay?" Lucas appeared in the doorway, his college graduation photo still prominently displayed on the fridge behind him. My son, perceptive as always. "Just checking the time," I lied, sliding the phone back to its exact position on the counter. The muscle memory of covering for Brandon kicked in automatically, even now. "Your father's been on that call forever." Lucas crossed his arms, looking so much like his grandfather, my father, in that moment that my chest ached. "You're white as a sheet." "Must be the lighting." The words came out hollow. Through the window, I could see Brandon pacing near the oak tree, gesturing animatedly. He was wearing the blue shirt I'd ironed this morning, the one I'd bought him for our anniversary last month, the same shirt he wore in one of those photos with her. "I should start dinner," I said, but made no move toward the refrigerator. My mind was already racing ahead, calculating. The joint accounts, the farm my parents left us, The life insurance policies. Mom! Lucas's voice was gentle. What did you find? I turned to face my son, this young man who'd grown up watching me smooth things over, make excuses, keep the peace, just like my mother had done, until the day she died. The Thompson women, always protecting their men from consequences. Nothing that wasn't there all along, I said finally. I just wasn't looking. Brandon's laugh drifted through the window, that rich, charming sound that had first drawn me to him at 19, the same laugh he probably used on Nora, 26 years old, the same age I was when Lucas was born. Whatever it is, Lucas said, you don't have to handle it alone. I picked up the knife I'd been using to chop vegetables before Brandon's phone had buzzed with that fatal message. The weight felt good in my hand. Solid. Real. You're right, I said, setting it down carefully. I don't. Brandon's voice grew louder as he approached the back door. I could time it perfectly. 3 steps across the patio, 2 more to the door, then he'd breeze in with some excuse about work, kiss my cheek, and ask what's for dinner, like he had 1,000 times before. But this time would be different. This time I wouldn't smile and nod. This time I thought of my father's words on his deathbed. The farm's yours, Isla. Don't let anyone take what's yours. I heard the back door open. Sorry about that, honey, Brandon called out. You wouldn't believe the day I'm having. I picked up his phone, unlocked it again with the password I wasn't supposed to know, and turned to face the door. Actually, I said, I think I would. The look on his face told me everything I needed to know about the war that was coming, and for the first time in 26 years, I was ready to fight. The next morning, I watched Brandon pack his overnight bag like it was any other business trip. His movements were precise, practiced, the same routine I'd watched for 26 years. Only now I noticed how he checked his phone 3 times while folding a single shirt. The Thompson account needs my personal attention, he said, not meeting my eyes. I'll be back Thursday. I nodded, thinking of the texts I'd seen. Can't wait for our weekend getaway. The timestamp showed Nora had sent it yesterday afternoon. The farm's property taxes are due next week, I said, keeping my voice steady. We should discuss the payment before you leave. Brandon's hand stilled over his suitcase. I thought we agreed to sell the back 40 acres. No, the word came out sharper than I intended. You suggested it. I never agreed. Isla, he used that tone, the one that always made me feel small, unreasonable. The farm's bleeding us dry. Your parents wouldn't want... Don't! My fingers curled around the doorframe. Don't tell me what my parents would want. Lucas appeared in the hallway, coffee mug in hand. The tension in the room hit him like a physical wave. Everything okay? Your mother's being stubborn about the farm again, Brandon said, zipping his bag with unnecessary force. Lucas set his mug down. The farm that puts food on our table? The one that paid for my college? The one that's now worth millions to developers, Brandon countered. We could all retire tomorrow if we betrayed everything my father built? The words escaped before I could stop them. Brandon's head snapped up, eyes narrowing at my choice of words. I need to check the accounts, I continued, softer now. Make sure we have enough for the taxes. I'll handle it. Brandon reached for his laptop bag. Like I always do. No, I stepped forward. I think it's time I took a more active role in our finances. The silence that followed felt like thunder before a storm. Brandon's smile didn't reach his eyes. Honey, you've never shown interest in the business side before. Why start now? Because it's my legacy too. I met his gaze. My name's on those accounts. Lucas moved closer to me, his presence solid and reassuring. I can help, Mom. My degree's in finance after all. Brandon's laugh held an edge. This isn't a school project, son. No, Lucas replied. It's family. The word hung between us like an accusation. Brandon checked his watch, another practiced gesture I now saw through. We'll discuss this when I return, he said, shouldering his bags. I have a plane to catch. As he headed for the door, I called after him. Brandon, the Thompson account. That wouldn't happen to be in Aspen, would it? He paused, just for a fraction of a second. Denver, why? Just curious. I smiled, thinking of Nora's Instagram post from yesterday. A ski resort tagged in Aspen. Have a safe flight. After he left, Lucas turned to me. Mom? I need you to teach me everything you know about forensic accounting, I said, still staring at the door. And I need you to be discreet about it. Does this have anything to do with what you saw on Dad's phone? I thought of my mother, how she'd kept quiet about my father's struggling farm until it was almost too late. How she'd finally taken charge, saved everything through sheer determination. The steel in her spine when she told my father, "This ends now." "This has everything to do with protecting what's ours," I said. "Your grandfather didn't build this legacy so your father could sell it to the highest bidder." Lucas nodded slowly. "Or spend it on someone else. My son, too perceptive by half." "Get your laptop," I said. "We've got 3 days before he returns, and I want to know exactly where every penny has gone." As Lucas disappeared upstairs, I pulled out my phone and opened the banking app. The password Brandon thought I didn't know unlocked 26 years of financial records. Somewhere in those numbers, Nora's footprints would be waiting, and this time, I wouldn't look away. The numbers on Lucas's laptop screen blurred together as midnight approached. 2 days of digging through financial records had left me numb until I saw it, a pattern of transfers to an offshore account, each one timed perfectly with the farm's quarterly profits. "He's been doing this for 5 years, Lucas said, his voice tight. "Every time the farm turned a profit, he diverted half to this account in the Caymans." I stared at the total, $2.3 million. My father's legacy, draining away like water through cupped hands. "There's more," Lucas continued, clicking through documents. "The development company interested in the back 40? Dad's been meeting with them for months. He's already signed preliminary paperwork." The betrayal felt physical, like a fist to the stomach. "He can't sell without my signature." "No, but..." Lucas hesitated. "Mom, he's been forging your signature on other documents. Small things at first, but recently..." A notification popped up on my phone. Brandon's nightly check-in call. I let it ring. "Show me everything," I said. Lucas pulled up document after document. My signature, almost perfect but slightly off, appeared on loan applications, property assessments, even a power of attorney I'd never seen. "The bank called earlier," Lucas said quietly. "They're concerned about unusual activity on the farm's business account." My phone buzzed again. A text from Brandon. "Why aren't you answering? Everything okay?" I thought of my mother's voice. A Thompson woman knows when to fight. She'd said it the day we discovered my father's cancer, when the medical bills threatened to overwhelm us. She'd fought then, saved the farm, saved us all. "We need to move fast," I said. "How much can we legally transfer before he returns?" Lucas's fingers flew over the keyboard. "The farm account's in both your names, but the equipment loan is only in his. If we..." A sharp knock at the front door cut him off. Through the window, I saw Walter Thompson's Mercedes in our driveway, its headlights still burning. "Uncle Walter?" Lucas frowned. "It's almost midnight." I stood, smoothing my shirt. "Let him in." Walter Thompson filled the doorway like a storm cloud, his expensive suit incongruous in our farmhouse kitchen. "Isla," he said, not bothering with pleasantries. "Brandon called. Says you're not answering his calls." "I've been busy," I replied. "Looking at our finances." Something flickered in Walter's eyes. "Brandon handles all that." "Not anymore." I gestured to Lucas's laptop. "Would you like to see what your nephew's been doing with my family's money?" Walter stepped closer, his cologne too sharp in the small space. "Whatever you think you found, 2.3 million, I cut in, transferred to the Caymans, plus forged signatures, hidden accounts, and a deal to sell land he doesn't fully own." "Business is complicated," Walter said, but his confidence wavered. "Brandon knows what he's doing." "Yes," I agreed. "He's stealing from me to fund his new life with Nora Sanders, the same Nora who used to work for your company, the one you fired last year for embezzlement." Walter's face went slack. "How did you..." "I called your secretary. Margaret still likes me, even if you don't. She told me everything about Nora's creative accounting, and now she's got her hooks in Brandon." Lucas stood beside me, shoulder to shoulder. Walter looked between us, calculation replacing shock. "What do you want?" he asked finally. I thought of Brandon in Aspen, probably celebrating his clever schemes with his young girlfriend. Thought of my father's calloused hands working this land, my mother's quiet strength preserving it. "I want what's mine," I said, "and I want Brandon to learn what it feels like to lose everything he thought was secure." Walter's laugh was cold. "You're going to war with the wrong people, Isla." "No," I replied, thinking of the evidence safely backed up on 3 different devices. "I'm finally fighting the right ones." As Walter turned to leave, I called after him. "Tell Brandon I'll see him Thursday. And Walter? The SEC might be interested in those offshore accounts you helped him set up. The door slammed behind him. Lucas let out a shaky breath. Mom, are you sure about this? I looked at my son, seeing my father's determination in his eyes. Some things are worth burning bridges for. We turned back to the laptop, and I began to type an email to our family lawyer. Thursday was coming, and I had a legacy to protect. The morning before Brandon's return, I found myself in my parents' old bedroom, now my home office. The lawyer's documents lay spread across my mother's antique desk, each page outlining a different betrayal. Loan applications, property liens, forged signatures. My phone buzzed. Another message from Brandon. Coming home early, we need to talk. A familiar perfume bottle caught my eye, still sitting on the dresser where my mother left it. The day before she died, she'd told me, sometimes the hardest part isn't discovering the truth, it's deciding what to do with it. Lucas appeared in the doorway, his laptop in hand. Mom, you need to see this. He pulled up an email chain between Brandon and the developers. The most recent message made my blood run cold. Once the property transfers are complete, we'll proceed with the full acquisition. Mrs. Thompson's signature won't be an issue. There's more, Lucas said, scrolling down. They're not just after the back 40. They want the whole farm. And Dad, he's already promised it to them. The room seemed to tilt. When? The final meeting's scheduled for next week. They're offering $30 million. I touched my mother's perfume bottle, remembering how she'd fought to keep this land when the banks threatened foreclosure. Show me the rest. Lucas hesitated. Mom, maybe we should wait. Show me. He pulled up another document. A prenuptial agreement I'd never seen, dated 3 weeks ago. Brandon's name. Nora's name. A property division that left me with nothing. The doorbell rang downstairs. That's probably Margaret, Lucas said. She said she had more documents from Uncle Walter's office. I'll get it. But when I opened the door, Nora Sanders stood on my porch. She wore expensive clothes that tried too hard, jewelry that sparkled too bright. Young, beautiful, and utterly calculated. Mrs. Thompson, she said, her smile perfect and practiced. I think it's time we talked. I should have slammed the door. Instead, I stepped aside. Come in. She walked into my house like she already owned it, her heels clicking on the hardwood floors my father had installed. Lucas appeared at the top of the stairs, his face darkening when he saw our visitor. I'll make coffee, he said, his tone making it clear he'd stay close. Nora settled onto our couch, the one Brandon and I had picked out together 15 years ago. I assume you know who I am. I know what you are. I remained standing. The question is, why are you here? To make a deal. She opened her designer bag, pulled out a folder. Brandon doesn't know I'm here. He thinks charm and manipulation will handle everything. Men usually do. I thought of Walter's warning about going to war with the wrong people. What kind of deal? The kind where you walk away with dignity and $10 million. She slid the folder across the coffee table. Better than fighting a losing battle, don't you think? I picked up the folder but didn't open it. And if I refuse? Then things get ugly. Her smile never wavered. Brandon's not the only one who knows how to forge signatures. One wrong move and you'll lose everything, including your son's trust when certain documents come to light. The threat hung in the air like smoke. From the kitchen doorway, Lucas watched, his hands gripping his laptop like a shield. I thought of my father's words. Don't let anyone take what's yours. But he'd never faced someone like Nora. Young, ruthless, and holding all the cards. Or so she thought. I opened the folder, scanned the contents, then carefully set it down. Interesting offer, but you made one mistake. Oh? Her confidence flickered just slightly. You assumed Brandon told you everything. I pulled out my phone, showed her the email I'd received that morning from the SEC. Did he mention the federal investigation? Or that I've been cooperating with them for the past 2 days? The color drained from her perfect face. In the kitchen, Lucas smiled. The war wasn't over. But for the first time, I knew exactly who my enemies were, and how to fight them. Brandon's homecoming dinner filled our dining room with artificial warmth. He'd brought expensive wine, arranged flowers on the table, playing the role of devoted husband while his phone buzzed silently in his pocket. Probably Nora, warning him about our meeting. The Thompson account went well, he said, cutting into his steak. We should celebrate this weekend. Maybe drive up to the lake house? Lucas caught my eye across the table. The lake house, another asset Brandon had secretly mortgaged, according to the documents we'd found. Actually, I said, I was thinking we should host the harvest dinner here this year, like my parents always did. Brandon's fork paused halfway to his mouth. Honey, we haven't done that in years. Exactly. Time to revive some traditions. I took a sip of wine. I've already invited the whole family. Even Uncle Walter. The color drained from Brandon's face so quickly, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. That's not a good idea, he said carefully. With the farm's financial situation, I've been looking into that. I kept my voice light, casual. Found some interesting transactions. The accountant's coming tomorrow to go through everything. Brandon's knuckles whitened around his fork. I handle the finances. Not anymore. I set down my glass. The SEC called again today. They had some questions about offshore accounts. The silence that followed felt like glass about to shatter. Lucas pushed back his chair. I should check on those spreadsheets, he said, leaving us alone. Brandon waited until Lucas's footsteps faded upstairs. Whatever you think you know, I know everything. I pulled out my phone, showed him the prenup he'd drafted with Nora. Your girlfriend's quite the negotiator, but she should have asked more questions about those accounts before threatening me. Isla. His charm switched on like a light. Let me explain. The harvest dinner's Saturday. Everyone will be here. The family, the bank managers, even those developers you've been meeting with. I stood, gathering the plates. You have 3 days to decide how this ends. He grabbed my wrist, hard enough to hurt. You're making a mistake. No! I twisted free, feeling something inside me harden. I made my mistake 26 years ago when I married you. His phone buzzed again. This time, he checked it. Nora's getting nervous, isn't she? I asked. Wondering if her investment in you is about to collapse? Brandon stood so quickly his chair toppled backward. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Actually, I do. I thought of my mother's strength, my father's integrity. I'm dealing with a coward who tried to steal my family's legacy, and I'm done being quiet about it. He moved toward me, but Lucas appeared in the doorway. Everything okay, Mom? Brandon's mask slipped back into place. Just a disagreement about the harvest dinner. Right, Lucas said. The one where Mom's planning to show everyone the forensic accounting reports? The threat hung between us like smoke. Brandon's jaw clenched. This isn't over, he said quietly. No, I agreed. But it will be on Saturday. After he stormed out, Lucas helped me clear the table. He'll try something before Saturday. I'm counting on it. I picked up Brandon's discarded napkin, noticed how his hands had shaken enough to tear it. That's why I made copies of everything. Lucas paused. Mom? What aren't you telling me? I thought of the other documents I'd found, the ones showing Walter's company was on the verge of collapse, taking Brandon's secret investments with it. The evidence of years of tax fraud that would destroy them both. Just remember what Grandpa always said, I told him. The truth has a way of harvesting itself. Outside, Brandon's car engine roared to life. He was probably heading straight to Nora, or maybe Walter, trying to salvage his carefully constructed lies. Let him run. Let him plot. Saturday was coming, and I had seeds of my own to harvest. The harvest dinner table stretched before me like a battlefield. Brandon sat at one end, Walter at the other, both wearing practiced smiles that didn't reach their eyes. Between them, our guests chatted over my mother's old china, oblivious to the storm about to break. Nora hadn't shown up. Her absence spoke louder than her presence ever could. The farms never look better, Walter announced, raising his glass. Brandon tells me you're considering some exciting new developments. My hand tightened around the USB drive in my pocket. Lucas caught my eye from across the table, giving a subtle nod. The projector was ready in the study. Actually, I started, but Brandon cut me off. We should discuss business later, he said smoothly. Tonight's about family. The word family hit like a slap. I thought of the email I'd received an hour ago, proof that Brandon had already transferred the farm's deed to a shell corporation. He'd forged my signature one final time, betting I wouldn't dare expose him publicly. Speaking of family, Walter continued, I have an announcement. Brandon's being promoted to CEO of Thompson Industries, effective immediately. The table erupted in congratulations. Brandon's smile turned triumphant as he accepted handshakes and praise. Only Lucas and I remained silent. A toast, Walter declared, to the new face of Thompson Industries. I stood, my chair scraping against the hardwood. Before we celebrate, there's something everyone should see. Brandon's face hardened. Isla, don't. The SEC investigation, I began, but suddenly every phone at the table buzzed simultaneously. Brandon's smile widened as our guests checked their phones. I pulled out mine, feeling the blood drain from my face. Breaking news. Thompson Industries announces merger with Global Development Corp. Stock soars. As I was saying, Walter continued, this promotion comes with some changes. The farm property has been acquired as part of the merger. Full market value, of course. My hands shook. That's impossible. I never signed. Check your email, Brandon said quietly. You signed everything last month, don't you remember? The forged documents. He'd backdated them all, created a paper trail so perfect it would take months to prove the fraud. Months we didn't have. You have until Monday to vacate, Walter added. The developers start work next week. Lucas stood. Mom, show them the evidence, the offshore accounts, What evidence? Brandon pulled out a familiar USB drive, identical to the one in my pocket. This evidence? My blood ran cold as I pulled out my drive. It was blank, wiped clean. Somewhere in the house, during the dinner preparations, they'd made the switch. Your mother's been under tremendous stress lately, Brandon told the table, imagining all sorts of conspiracies. We've arranged for her to take some time off, get the help she needs. The room spun. They'd planned this perfectly. Discredit me before I could expose them. Make any accusations seem like the ravings of a desperate woman. You can't, I started, but Walter raised his hand. Please, he said to our guests. Give us a moment with family. As people filed out, Brandon approached me. I warned you not to play games you don't understand. The SEC has closed their investigation. Amazing what the right connections can do. Lucas moved to stand beside me, but Brandon blocked his path. Son, your mother needs professional help. We've arranged everything. Like you arranged Nora? Lucas snapped. Brandon's smile never wavered. Nora's been transferred overseas. A generous promotion, in exchange for her discretion. I thought of my parents, how they'd fought to keep this land, how I'd failed them. Monday morning, Walter said firmly. The developers arrive at 9. They left us there, Lucas and me, standing in my mother's dining room for what would be the last time. Through the window I could see the farm stretching out under the harvest moon. 26 years of marriage, generations of family history, all slipping away like water through my fingers. Lucas touched my arm. Mom? Get me Margaret on the phone, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. And find out everything you can about Global Development Corp. They'd taken my evidence, my home, my reputation. But they'd forgotten one thing. A Thompson woman knows how to survive a harsh harvest, and I wasn't finished reaping what they'd sown. Sunday morning, I sat in my father's old truck outside Thompson Industries, watching Brandon and Walter arrive for their victory lap. They'd scheduled a press conference to announce the merger, complete with plans for the farm's redevelopment. My phone buzzed. Margaret's text. Files sent. God help them. Lucas pulled up beside me, parking his car. Nora's flight landed an hour ago. And? She went straight to the SEC office, just like you said she would. I checked my watch. The press conference would start in 20 minutes. Brandon and Walter would be preparing their speeches, savoring their triumph. They'd never see it coming. Inside, the lobby buzzed with reporters and shareholders. Brandon stood at the center, radiating charm, while Walter worked the crowd. Their eyes widened when they saw me. Isla, Brandon moved to intercept me. This is a private event. Nothing about Thompson Industries is private anymore. I handed him a tablet. Check your company's stock price. His face went ash gray as he read the breaking news. SEC launches criminal investigation into Thompson Industries merger. Whistleblower reveals massive fraud. Walter snatched the tablet. What did you do? Me? Nothing. I smiled. But Nora, she had quite a story to tell once she realized you'd frozen her offshore accounts. Brandon's charm cracked. You're bluffing. Check your email. Margaret sent some interesting documents this morning. Turns out your trusted secretary kept copies of everything. Reporters were noticing the tension, drifting closer. Walter grabbed my arm. Security will remove you. Before or after they see this? Lucas stepped forward, holding up his phone. A video played, Brandon and Walter in the study during the harvest dinner, discussing the forged documents, the fake merger, the plan to commit securities fraud. "You bugged my house," Brandon whispered. "No." I met his eyes. "I bugged my house. The one you tried to steal." Cameras were turning our way now. Walter's face had gone from red to purple. "Whatever you think you have is already with the FBI." I raised my voice slightly, letting the reporters hear. "Along with proof of tax fraud, forged documents, and evidence of how you bankrupted your last 3 companies." Brandon lunged for Lucas's phone, but security moved in. Not to remove me, but to contain the situation. The crowd was growing, phones recording everything. "You can't prove," Walter started, but his phone rang. His face crumpled as he listened. When he hung up, he looked ancient. "The board," he said to Brandon. "They're calling an emergency meeting. The merger's dead." Brandon's mask finally shattered. "You stupid bitch. You've destroyed everything." "No!" I thought of my mother's strength, my father's integrity. I protected what's mine. The farm stays in the family. The only thing destroyed is your illusion of power. "Mrs. Thompson?" A FBI agent appeared, flanked by others. "We need to speak with Mr. Thompson and Mr. Thompson?" As they were led away, Brandon turned back. "I gave you everything you have." "No," I said quietly. "You tried to take everything I earned. There's a difference." The press swarmed as Brandon and Walter were escorted out. Lucas put his arm around my shoulders. "Mom, you okay?" I watched my husband of 26 years disappear into a federal vehicle, thinking of all the quiet dinners, the subtle manipulations, the years of making myself small to make him feel big. "The farm needs attention," I said finally. "Harvest season's not over." Outside, reporters shouted questions about the scandal, the investigation, the millions in fraudulent deals. But all I could think about was the autumn wind on my face, the smell of earth after rain, and my father's words, "The land remembers who loves it." Brandon had forgotten that. He'd forgotten that real power isn't in boardrooms or bank accounts. It's in the quiet strength of people who know their worth. "Let's go home," I told Lucas. "There's work to be done." Behind us, Thompson Industries crumbled. But ahead, across the fields my parents had preserved, a different kind of harvest waited. One built on truth, not lies, on legacy, not greed. And this time, I'd be the one tending it. The divorce papers lay unsigned on my mother's antique desk next to the morning's newspaper. The headline still caught my eye. "Thompson Industries executives face federal charges." Brandon's corporate headshot stared back at me, his practiced smile now a reminder of all the lies I'd believed. Through the window, I watched Lucas directing the harvest crew across the back 40, the land Brandon had tried so hard to take. The autumn sun caught the golden wheat, making it look like waves of light. My phone buzzed. Nora's name appeared on the screen. "I'm not testifying," she said without preamble. "Brandon's lawyers offered a deal." I figured they would. I traced my finger along the desk's worn edge, remembering my mother doing the same when making difficult decisions. "But you should know. The SEC already has everything they need." A long pause. "He said you'd say that." "He says a lot of things, Nora. That's why we're both here." The line went dead. Through the window, I saw Lucas wave to someone, Margaret, arriving with another stack of documents. She'd been instrumental in exposing Walter's long history of fraud, earning herself immunity in the process. The doorbell rang. I knew who it would be. Brandon stood on our porch, my porch now, looking smaller somehow. The designer suit was gone, replaced by department store clothes that didn't quite fit. "The prosecutors offered a plea deal," he said. "I know. 5 years instead of 20. He shifted, uncomfortable in his new reality. "If you speak on my behalf." I thought of all the nights I'd spent going through records, tracking his deceptions, protecting what was mine. "No." "Isla." "The farm's latest harvest report." I cut him off, holding out a folder. "You'll need it for the asset division." He took it, frowning as he read. His face changed as he understood. "These profits, they're higher than anything you ever reported," I corrected. "Amazing what happens when you actually invest in the land instead of trying to sell it." The sound of tractors filled the silence between us. Lucas and the crew were bringing in the last of the wheat, just as my father had taught me to do. "I never understood this place," Brandon said finally. "What it meant to you." "No," I agreed. You didn't. He pulled out a pen, signed the divorce papers without reading them. His hand shook slightly. Walter made a deal, he said. He's testifying against me. Like father, like son. The words came out sharper than I intended. Brandon flinched. I really thought I could make you understand. About Nora, about the business. You thought you could make me small enough to fit into your world. I took the signed papers. But I was never the one who needed to grow. He looked past me into the house. Our house once. Now just another thing he'd lost by trying to possess it. What will you do now? He asked. I thought of the agricultural college's proposal sitting on my desk. They wanted to use the farm as a teaching facility, combining traditional methods with sustainable innovation. Lucas had already drawn up the business plan. I'll do what my parents did, I said. Plant seeds and watch them grow. After he left, I walked out to the wheat field. Lucas saw me coming, jumped down from the tractor. Everything okay? I handed him the signed papers. It is now. The wind carried the scent of earth and harvest, just as it had when I was a girl learning at my father's knee. But now there was something else in it, the promise of change, of growth. Mom? Lucas pointed to the horizon. Storm's coming. I watched the clouds gather, thinking of all the storms we'd weathered here, all the ones yet to come. Good, I said. The land could use the rain. We stood together, watching the wheat bend in the wind. Behind us, the farmhouse stood steady, its foundations deeper than any corporate tower. And in my pocket, the key to it all weighed exactly as much as it should, heavy with responsibility, light with freedom. The first drops began to fall.